No one expects a Hollywood legend's name to become attached to a headline like this. A family known for creativity, success, and love is now at the center of a nightmare that feels more like a movie plot than real life. But this story is painfully real, and it's only just beginning. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, were found dead inside their Los Angeles home. Authorities later confirmed what many feared but couldn't process. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't natural causes. The county medical examiner ruled their deaths a homicide caused by multiple sharp force injuries. In an instant, 2 lives filled with decades of art, family, and memories were violently cut short. And Hollywood stood still. But what made the tragedy even harder to grasp was who police arrested next. Their own son. Nick Reiner, just 32 years old, was taken into custody and later charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. A name that once carried quiet anonymity was suddenly everywhere. Headlines, cameras, courtrooms, and questions no one was ready to answer. When Nick appeared in court for the first time, the atmosphere was tense and heavy. He waived his right to enter a plea. He spoke only a few words, "Yes, Your Honor," when asked if he understood his right to a speedy trial. Media outlets packed the courthouse, but the judge ordered that he not be filmed. Inside, he sat mostly out of sight. Later glimpses showed him wearing a jail-issued suicide prevention smock, his arms shackled, his expression blank. It was a chilling image, and it raised even more questions. Then came the moment many were waiting for. The remaining Reiner children broke their silence. Jake and Romy Reiner released a statement that revealed the depth of their pain without pointing fingers. They described the loss as horrific and devastating. They said their parents weren't just mom and dad, they were their best friends. The words felt raw, careful, and deeply human. Noticeably, they did not mention their brother or the accusations he now faces. Instead, they focused on gratitude. Gratitude for the support pouring in from strangers, friends, and people from all walks of life. And they made one request: privacy. Not just for themselves, but so their parents could be remembered for the lives they lived and the love they gave. It was a quiet plea in the middle of a media storm. Inside the courtroom, the case moved slowly but deliberately. Prosecutors and defense attorneys agreed to delay Nick Reiner's arraignment until January 7th. His lawyer spoke to reporters afterward, stressing that this was a case filled with complex and serious issues. He urged the public not to rush to judgment, not to jump to conclusions, to allow the system to work with dignity and restraint. His words suggested there was far more beneath the surface. And then came another twist. Nick was initially scheduled to appear in court earlier, but wasn't medically cleared to do so. That detail fueled speculation almost immediately. A criminal defense lawyer later suggested that the delay could allow time for a psychiatric evaluation. These evaluations, experts say, often happen before arraignment to determine if a defendant is even fit to stand trial. No official confirmation has been made, but the possibility alone added another unsettling layer. For now, Nick Reiner remains in custody at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in Los Angeles. The stakes could not be higher. If convicted, he could face life without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors have also not ruled out pursuing the death penalty. Every decision ahead carries enormous weight, for the courts, for the city, and for a family already shattered beyond repair. Lost in the legal drama is the legacy left behind. Rob Reiner was more than a famous director. He shaped generations of cinema with films like This Is Spinal Tap, Misery, and A Few Good Men. Michelle Reiner was a creative force in her own right, an actress, photographer, producer, and the founder of Reiner Light. Together, they built lives defined by art, partnership, and purpose. And now, their story has ended in a way no one could have imagined. Los Angeles police officials called the case heartbreaking, not just for the Reiner family, but for the entire city. And that may be the most haunting part. This isn't just a crime story. It's a family imploding under circumstances that still don't make sense. A legacy colliding with tragedy. And a future filled with unanswered questions. As the world waits for January 7th, one thing is clear. This story isn't about fame anymore. It's about loss, silence, and a family forever changed. And the truth, whatever it may be, has yet to fully come out.